from there because I was studying in Newport College to become a master in England. And the conference asked me, "You're from Pakistan?" "Yes, I am from Pakistan." "You can be a good leader for Muslim ministry." I said, "Oh, I'm not interested." They said, no, you can do a good ministry. So before I finished my theology, they hired me to do this work. So I was like, throw somebody in the swimming pool. They threw me in, and then I said, I have to save myself. That's how I came into this ministry. I was a normal Christian who didn't know anything about Islam. So which means, my example tells you that anyone, any Christian can learn about Islam. And now, we learned it through difficult means. You have all the books. We already have the books for you to learn. These books were not there when we were trying to learn it. So the books are here, learn from this, and your journey with Muslims will be far easier. Yes?
It's just a statement really that frustrates many Christians, and it also frustrates a lot of Muslims because they follow the great apologist, Sadat Anwar. And whatever Sadat Anwar says, they follow. So they don't take things for themselves, just like some Christians do. So we're not dissimilar. But what I always do when I study with Muslims, and they say that we have no inspiration, we have our Bibles corrupted, I always say to them, well, if you went to court and one witness said to you, just one witness said that you did it, would you accept that? They say no. So I say, well, it's the same with our Bible. We have many witnesses that give an account of Jesus Christ and God, but you only have one witness, the Prophet Muhammad, who got his inspiration from Jibreel. So are you going to trust one man who had no other interaction and who's come and written this Quran, or are you going to trust many people who give a statement? And when they say, well, the Bible is corrupted, we say, go back to the case of Qumran, and then you will find it, and then they're generally speechless.
Thank you. Thank you. We have one here and then over there.
Just a quick. Have you, in your relations, have you come across anyone, whether it's an imam or anyone in that high standard that knows the scriptures or knows the Quran, that has studied the Bible in the same way that we are studying the Quran in order to see the similarities, differences? Have you come across that at all? Yeah,
my computer doesn't work, otherwise I'll show you right now. Do you know Pastor Adil? Pastor Adil is a Pakistani guy. I studied with him in 2012. He was a Muslim. And I studied with him the Quran and the Bible. He accepted. He was baptized. Then he started working as my assistant in South England Conference. Then we sent him to Newport College. He studied 4-year theology. Then he did a master's in theology. Last summer he was ordained as a minister of the South England Conference. That's 2012. That's 2012. After that we have done with many. 4 weeks ago I was in Turkey, and a young girl during pandemic, she wanted to ask serious questions because she was not willing to accept Christianity. So she came on board, we talked to her, she accepted. She not only accepted, she was baptized. And 3 weeks ago when I went to Turkey, 4 weeks ago, she brought her boyfriend first time to church. Why? Because she can trust me. She said, I want him to talk to my boyfriend. So I spoke to the guy, and I just asked him, I said, hey, have you ever wondered about Jesus? He says, yeah, I have. I said, what do you think about him? He said, what do you think about him? I asked him, you're asking me? He said, yes. I said, you don't need to worry about what I think. I want to ask you, what do you think? He says, no, I want to know what you think. Do you believe that he's God? I said, yes. He said, teach me as well. I want to learn as well. So simple. Took me 5 minutes because she has been telling her boyfriend, you have to meet this man when he comes. And when he went there, it only took us about 10-15 minutes, and he said, I accept. Because my girlfriend has been already telling me that what you taught her, she has been already teaching me, and I want to accept. So he's already ready now. So over and over and over again, God helps us to to share the same thing, but I'm telling you, the resources are here. All the verses that I use in the Quran are here. All the verses about the Bible that I use are here. So, you can do the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm asking.
Dead Sea Scrolls. So who has given us the Dead Sea Scrolls? Muhammad
Yeah,
Ali.
Muslims.
Thank you, Muslims, for giving us the Dead Sea Scrolls, because of which we can say the Bible can be trusted.
Amen.
In these 6 lessons now, we start with story, we then move to the Quran verse, then we go to explanation, then we ask them a question in that verse. For instance, we'll ask a question, and the question is, here's the question. Where were the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered? Number 1, Rome. Number 2, some other city. And number 3, West Bank. What are we trying to show? That the Dead Sea Scrolls that were found and are true are not found in Rome or America. They're found in your town, Muslim town. And that's how we can prove that the Bible is the Word of God. The next question. Of the and Jesus. Jesus didn't die on the cross, it's connected to Jesus. Jesus is not God, connected to Jesus. Jesus is not the Son of God, connected to Jesus. Jesus and Trinity, connected to Jesus. Everything, all the divinity questions, Trinity questions, Jesus' death, resurrection questions, everything is connected to the person of Jesus Christ. So here's the second book. What does the Quran say about Jesus and his second coming? And then in that, you show them all the different persons of who Jesus truly is. Interesting, isn't it? So you already have the answer right here. So the 2 questions that Muslims have, you got the 2 answers right here. You don't want to read a 300-page book. You're never going to read it. Are you with me? Why do you want to read a 300-page book? In order to write this book, you know how many books were read to write this? 100 Muslim books were read in order to write one book. So which means, why do you want to waste your 100 hours in reading all the books? Somebody else has taken the hard pain and done it for you, and all the references are here of all the different books. So just read this and get the answer and move on.
Amen. Amen.
In one evening you can read this book, one evening.
Amen.
And then make your own notes from that. Oh, by the way, just before we go to that question, just 2 things I wanted to say. This afternoon, I have not fully talked to Pastor yet, but I think Pastor already Pastor wants to see you guys have this book. Do you think you want to have these books? How many hands of everyone who wants to have these books in their library? Okay, so we are working out with the pastor. As a gift from the church. Is that okay? And that is, when you're sitting with your Muslim friend, you can give him a lesson. And you can keep a photocopy if you want and go through these lessons. Let me show you how to do these lessons.